So far, learning the simplified nose and anatomical rhythms has allowed us to draw a pretty realistic nose. But in order to shade the nose well, we have to understand its planes. So let's see how we can make some slight changes to this drawing in order to fully flesh it out with the planes. By the way, if you enjoyed this lesson, be sure to check out the full nose drawing course at mydrawingtutorials.com/nose. It will dive way deeper into the subject and teach you everything you need to draw realistic and dynamic noses. Okay, back to the lesson. I'll reduce the opacity of the current layer and then draw on a separate layer on top of that. If you're working with traditional pencil and paper, you can simply lighten your drawing with an eraser and then draw over the top of that. We'll start by redrawing the glabella, except we'll curve the bottom edge slightly to show that the bridge is slightly rounded. The bridge of the nose will be widest where the nasal bone meets the lateral cartilage. And then it will taper in to a point. Next, we'll add a small side plane to the bridge of the nose. This really helps to show that the bridge has a slight thickness to it and helps it to pop forward from the face more. We can see this thickness in the nasal bone and lateral cartilage in the anatomical diagram as well. And we can add a side plane to the glabella region as well. Again, this helps to give it more thickness and depth. Next, we'll draw in the tip of the nose. It will be slightly angular and interlocks with the tip of the bridge like so. At the bottom, instead of coming to a point, it will have a flat edge going across like so. Then we'll draw in some smaller planes under this tip. This will help to show how the nose begins to turn in towards the face. Together, these two planes look a little like an hourglass shape from the front view. And let's not forget the separation between the two pieces of the greater ali cartilage. Next, we'll change this edge of the bottom plane from a smooth curve into 3 short line segments. The first line will angle down slightly and then come across, and then back down again. So this edge has a bit of a stair-step pattern. Then the line will angle in towards the center and curl up. Basically, we're just taking these rhythm lines and turning them into line segments. Now let's do the same for the other side. Do your best to keep everything as symmetrical as possible. Next, we'll redraw this separation between the tip of the nose and wings. Notice how this line contacts right where there's an angle change in the lower edge. Now, we'll show that the wings actually has a front plane with these lines. And then we'll show the side plane of the wings, which we'll only be able to see a little bit of from this front view. Do the same for the other side. Show the front plane, and then the side plane. Now we can close out the tip of the nose with this edge. This plane helps to show how the tip is a rounded form and has a side plane to it. And I'll just redraw the nostrils so that it's more centered within the bottom plane. And lastly, we'll draw in the side plane of the bridge. We're just going to divide up the side plane so that instead of being a smooth curve towards the face, it has several definitive angle changes. Now, I just want to mention that this is just one way to design the planes of the nose. There are many other ways out there, and once you're comfortable with this version, I would encourage you to study other versions that you can find on the internet. I recommend looking up nose plane on either Google or Pinterest.com. You can even try designing your own version of the planes. This will help you to understand the structure of the nose a lot better. Okay, now let's turn off the underdrawing so we can see these planes better. Now, to show the form of the nose better, we can draw a cross contour line that goes along the tip. The line would angle up and then goes across the front of the wings, and then it would climb up the side of the tip. Now, as it goes across the tip, it will curve slightly because the tip has a rounded form. And then it would climb down the other side, across the wings, and then down again. If you're having a hard time drawing cross contour lines, just try to imagine there's an ant crawling in a straight line across the form. The cross contour line is basically just the trail that this ant would leave behind as it crawls across. Cross contour exercise is a great way to deepen your understanding of a form. Okay, so that's it for the front view. Now let's draw in the 3/4 view. Again, we'll lighten the underdrawing and re-establish the glabella with the bottom edge slightly curved. Now we'll redraw the nose bridge. And add in a small side plane to show its thickness. And we'll add some thickness to the glabella as well. Next, I'll chisel out the shape of the tip. And slice off a tiny portion of the bottom end. Remember, the tip is slightly rounded, so we'll curve the center line out. And we can draw the center line along the bridge as well to show that there's a slight angle change where the nasal bone meets the lateral cartilage. Next, we'll add in the center plane at the bottom of the nose. From this angle, we can really see how these planes show the nose curling up into the face. Next, we'll break up the edge of the bottom plane into segments. And now the line goes across and then back down again. And here the wings will curl in towards the center. Then we'll draw in the outline of the wings. And this line will separate the front plane of the wings from the side plane. So here's the side plane. And then we turn the corner into the front plane. Next, we'll close out the tip of the nose and connect it to the wings. And I'll just redraw the nostril and recenter it slightly. And lastly, we'll break up the side of the nose into smaller plane changes. Again, if we were to draw a cross contour line across this nose, it would go up the side plane of the wings, then across the front plane, and then up the side of the tip, and then it would curve as it goes across the front plane. Let me just add a center line to the front view as well, just to keep things consistent. Okay, now let's draw in the side view. We'll start with the glabella. The bridge of the nose will angle out along the nasal bone, and then angle in slightly along the lateral cartilage. So from this view, we can really see that there's a slight angle change where the nasal bone meets the lateral cartilage. And here's the side plane to show the thickness of the nose bridge. We can also see a thickness to the glabella from here as well. Next, we'll draw in the tip of the nose. From here, we can only see a little bit of the front plane, but we can definitely see the tip curving outward slightly. Now we can show how the nose curls in towards the face. Notice how there are 3 distinct line segments to show that turn. And next, we'll break up the edge of the bottom plane into line segments. Establish the shape of the wings, and separate the side plane from the front plane. Notice how from this angle we can see much more of the side planes of the wings as compared to the front view. Now close out the nose tip. The side plane of the tip appears quite large from this angle. Redraw the nostril. And chisel out the side planes. Now let's turn off the underdrawing and see what we have. Okay, again, the cross contour line will travel up the side, across the wings, and then up the tip again. And we would only see a little bit of it as it crossed the front plane. Okay, so that's it for the planes of the nose. Go ahead and try this exercise for yourself, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Well, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and if you did, make sure to check out the full nose drawing course at mydrawingtutorials.com/nose. You'll get hours of additional lessons and step-by-step exercises, and learn things like how to draw and shade the nose from a bunch of different angles, how to exaggerate your reference and draw stylized or cartoonish noses, how to draw noses from your imagination, and a whole lot more. So if you're ready to improve your nose drawing skills, head over to mydrawingtutorials.com/nose or click the link below.